and this port will be different on every machine. I tend to use 36,000 as my default, but if you don't set it, SharePoint will choose a random one. Okay, so we're going to go through and we're going to do some basic setup, and what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to get one of you guys to drive for a bit. Aiken, I assume that's not your full name, but that's what we have for now. Would you be okay to drive for a bit? I'll hand over control and tell you what to do. And Beaker, no? Aiken. Okay, cool. I'm going to give you a keyboard and mouse. Alright, now let's assume that this is a fairly clean installation. Our SharePoint administrator has come in and they've installed everything, and they've set up they've set up the services for us. If you're working on your dev box, what you want to do is just use the configuration wizard. If you're not working on your dev box, you wouldn't do the configuration wizard. You'd set up these apps one by one. So what we're going to do first is we're actually going to check that our service applications, which are the services that sit behind those features, are all running. So let's go to Manage Service Applications. You are above it, under Application Management, there's Manage Service Applications. So it's in the first column, Application Management in green, and then underneath it, the third link is Manage Service Applications. Cool. So if you clicked on if you clicked on Application Management, it'll give you more links. The one you want is under Service Applications, and there's Manage Service Applications. Okay, so each one of these things here is a service application. It's actually a service that's running in the back end, and each one of them has their own set of settings. You can also do things like scale them out to different machines and so on. The ones that we really care about are firstly Secure Store Service. So go down to Secure Store Service. Now the Secure Store Service is a pretty simple thing, and actually just click on the application. Yep. So if you have a look at this, the Secure Store Service has a couple of things in here. First is, if you have a look at the top, it says Generate New Key, Refresh Key. Essentially, the Secure Store Service takes whatever information you want to put into it. In this case, in all of the out-of-the-box SharePoint stuff, it's usernames and passwords. It uses an encryption key, and it stores it encrypted so people can't hack it. Now, in this case, we're not going to click Generate a New Key because I've already generated one. Typically, you would start off by generating a new one. Now, you'll notice that there's two over there. Performancepoint actually generates its own service application, hence the funny GUID. Excel services, we have to create one. What we're going to do is we're going to create a dummy one quickly just to take you through it. And what you'll do is just hit the New button in the top left. Cool. So target application ID. Let's just call it test. You do actually use this later, but we're not going to use this one. Display name is test, and you do need a contact email. So if the Secure Store falls over, it will email you. I've almost never gotten emails from it, so it's not a big thing. You can put in, it doesn't actually matter as long as it's a valid email, so it doesn't have to be yours. At gmail.com. Cool. Now, target application type. We want to use it for group. All of the BI applications in SharePoint will use group. Individual would be if you're writing your own application. So click on that drop down. We're going to associate the Secure Store Service. Alright, choose group, one at the bottom. Okay, and hit next. Okay, This you'll leave as a default. Use store username and password. Hit next. Okay. Now, what we're doing here, the top one is saying who has rights to administer the secure store account. Now, in this case, just type in the word administrator. Okay, and then members is saying which groups inside my AD account can actually use the secure store service. Okay, so let's put in, type in the word all. So we're saying that anybody in my domain, we can use the secure store service account. Now, if we think about what we're doing here, yep, we're good, hit OK. Okay. Now, it says no exact match. If you click on all, it's going to have found 2 or 3 different possibilities for all, and you can just choose all authenticated users. Cool, hit OK. We've got one more thing to do. What I want you to do is just tick next to test, and you'll see there's a set credentials button in the top. Yep. Okay, now I'm actually going to type this in. What we're doing now is we're saying for all authenticated users, when they try to log in using the secure store service, use this account. Right, so the idea is if you don't have Kerberos set up and people aren't delegating their accounts, all reporting users, all Excel services users, all Performancepoint users, whenever they log in and we've said to use the secure store service account, use that administrator account. Okay, now that's the secure store service setup. It is actually a requirement for Performancepoint, but let's go back and let's work through the Performancepoint setup. So once again, let's click on Application Management. Okay, and what I want you to do is hit Manage Service Applications again. And this time, we're going to manage Performancepoint Service Application.